Respect. Welcome back to Smitty's Corner. So, for this episode right here, what we're going to do is we're going to see, because I hear a lot of us speak about how much authentic and real and everything that us as black people are, um, would we be as strong as the ones that came before us? I hear a lot of us speak. I even had this discussion um before on panels as far as like, are we really the same type of black people who can endure what it was that we went through before, right? I think about those things. I think about like, what if I was in that time frame? What would it be like? Well, what we're going to do is this. We are about to take a journey. We're going to time travel and we are going to go back into ancient Egypt. And we're going to see, can you make it living in ancient Egypt? This right here will 9 times out of 10 be a part one out of maybe two and or three. I'll say three at max, but bare minimum two. So this is part one. I digress. My mic is muted. I ain't gonna hold us. Let's rock out.
You've done it. You fell down a weird witch's wormhole and landed yourself in ancient Egypt. So, can you survive? Let's find out. The first thing you might ask is, which ancient Egypt? Because the entirety of ancient Egypt spanned across several thousands of years with quite a few different eras. Let's go with...
All right. I only paused that for a moment just because I just wanted to take the time to look at this. I didn't realize it was set up like this. You see all the things we learn as we go along? Let's keep rocking out.
The iconic New Kingdom, the height of Egyptian power and influence, and the most documented for research purposes. How convenient. Since you made it to this video, I'm going to assume that you're not a literal mouth-breathing, knuckle-dragging, fragile infant. So you can give yourself a pat on your freshly whipped back, because you've already survived the hardest part, childhood. Being a kid wasn't easy. Since they didn't have any fancy beeping machines to hook moms up to and keep babies alive, infant mortality rates were extremely high.
Wow. And to think the things that nowadays that we actually have like real true debates about on let's say um uh uh, uh doll deletion. There we go. Doll deletions, right? So like when we go purchase dolls from Target and then we delete the dolls. It's like, why did you get the doll, right? But to think nowadays they actually like have real laws that are backed up behind these things. Now, this is ancient Egypt. That's all that I'm getting to on that. This is ancient Egypt. Can we really survive? Ladies, gentlemen, let's keep going.
20 to 50% of babies didn't make it out the womb. If you survived being born, next up was surviving the world. Much harder. With things like disease, hunger, and other environmental factors out to get you, it's not going to be a stroll through Easyville. I mean, some of these kids look so frail you could practically see their blinking health.
That's another thing. So, are we hearing what he's saying? Now, let's just say, okay, historically and scientifically proven, what he just said is facts. Majority of the kids were malnourished, the whole nine. So if the food is barely there, you already know sleeping, living conditions, the whole nine is even worse. We're just only talking about the food. See, we don't think about these aspects back then, at least, right? Now we get it through the psychology of neurology, right? So the thing is that Okay, cool. These kids were really, really small. Well, then, is it really that hard to believe that just maybe, either aliens and or giants built the pyramids? Are you going to tell me that people who were raised, now he said this is the height of it. We're in the Mesopotamia. This is the height of Egypt. But look at how he's even saying in the height of them, how the children were coming up. Let's keep going.
Bar. Hang in there, guys. Oh, bummer. Your main duty as a kid is to help out the family that brought you into this world. We're talking chores, taking care of your siblings, protecting the farm.
If only, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That kind of struck a little personal home with me. If only it was still that way. That's all I'm going to say. If only our teenagers nowadays had the same mind frame. And I'm just going to leave it at that. I digress. My mic is muted. Let's rock out.
Learning the family business, everything necessary for survival. As far as food, it's whatever Mama and Papa could scrape together, which is mainly bread, milk, fruits, and veggies. Ever have half an onion on dry bread with warm milk?
Nope, never. Not one day in my life, but I can only imagine if I was starving, I just might have to get it in. If we can at least toast the bread and add some cheese, I'll take a grilled cheese with onion and some milk. I ain't gonna lie. Let's rock out.
Actually pretty disgusting, but it's what keeps you growing. Because if you don't eat, well... And hey, if your papa has a high enough fishing level, he could bring home a pretty sweet catfish to tear into. Get that protein. Your mother, assuming she survived slopping you out of her belly, would feed and care for your ungrateful ass. But none of that is applicable since you just got orphaned by the space-time continuum. Before we take a look at what to do next, let's see where you would fit in the grand scheme of society.
Those previous words, for the record, are the thoughts of this content creator and this content creator only. Fair use, fair use, fair use. I digress. My mic is muted. Let's keep rocking out.
Because everyone has their place. Ancient Egyptian society worked in a hierarchy with rich and powerful guys at the top and everyone else at the not top. So really no change from the modern world. The head honcho around these parts is the pharaoh. He's the divine king and whatever he says, goes. Subscribe. Just under him are his closest bros and advisors. Then we have an educated and skilled middle class, and then a laboring lower class with slaves and servants at the bottom.
I just want to take 1 second and make sure I pause it so I can look at this graph. So we have the pharaoh. Then we got, like, you know what I'm saying, his right-hand man. Then after that, you know what I'm saying, we got our shooters. We got our hitters. You know, I'm just giving it in, you know what I'm saying, like, you know. All right, bet. Then after that, the scribes. Okay, those are the elders. Okay, so those are, like, you know what I'm saying, you know, Mrs. Wilson and them around the way. Like, leave them alone. Like, leave the old folks alone, right? Then we got our merchants. What is our merchants? That right there is part of the stores in the community. So we should make sure we take care of that because that's part of the village, right? Don't we go purchase from the merchants, right? That's why it's called a merchant. Then we got the craftsman. The craftsman is part of the marketplace. Then we got the farmers. The farmers produce the produce that's in the marketplace. So the last three would be part of the market. Then we got right there the elders, which is the scribes, going back up. Then after that, we got the soldiers, okay? So that's right underneath the pharaoh's right-hand men. Sounds about right to me. Let's keep on rocking out.
Which were usually foreign prisoners of war. Since there's a 95% chance that you'd stick out like a turd in a punch bowl amongst a well-tanned, weird-talking population, you'd probably be...
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure you would, Dan. I mean, you know, but, you know, my black ass, I'm going to look just like them. I'm sorry to tell you that, but it's the truth. So let's keep on going with this white-ass example.
Captured and sold into slavery. Tough break, outsider. But let's assume you can convince the xenophobic guards that...
You're not an outsider. You just, you know, you just need to tan up some and, I don't know, make different. Let's keep going.
You're one cool dude. Hey, I'm one cool dude. It worked. Time to get a job.
Sustainability has moved to the center of customer decision
I
making.
apologize, y'all. Let's keep going.
It worked. Time to get a job. Since you can't speak Wingdings 3, you're gonna have to prove your worth through manual labor. Luckily, there's plenty of job to choose from, like farming and... Over 90% of all ancient Egyptians were farmers, so there's plenty of friends and rivals to be made. You know, see who could grow the best.
So, primarily, majority of us were laborers. And I'm saying us as far as humans back then, wherever your lineage is. Okay. Okay. Laborers. That sounds like typical person. The average worker was, warehouse, loading dock, fields and farms, So, okay, let's keep going.
Onions or whatever it is farmers did for fun, finger each other's cabbages, I don't know. But your absolute best friend is the Nile River, which is your #1 source of delicious brown water for your crops. Just don't taste test it. Thankfully, the application process to work on a farm is no more than moving a rock from here to there. And with your stellar gamer build, you can...
And always remember, all right, the Nile is not just the river in Jordan, all right? It's also when a person does not recognize the truth. That's right, that's right. The Nile is not just the river in Jordan. It's also when a person does not recognize the truth. Let's keep going.
Easily get the job done. Just remember to lift entirely with your back. As a bonus, you can read and write, not in hieroglyphics, but in cooler things like letters and numbers, perfect for taking your own notes. You're hired. Now you can get to work and earn that bread. But since the Persians haven't invaded yet and introduced proper currency, you'll be working for literal bread. So you slave away for months on Bahir's family wheat farm, eating your brown bread and sandy beer dinners while sleeping on a filthy, crusty, dusty dirt floor.
See, the thing about it is this, right? Let me break something down to you guys that you may not be hip to. I am not in any form of fashion, I would say, advocating or anything for imprisonment or you should go be locked up so you can understand. No. Keep doing the right thing. Stay on the right course. Stay on track. Do what you got to do and stay free, right? But where I am going to is this, right? Where I'm going to is when it comes to like, I had everything in the world one day in my life. I mean, everything. I'm talking about vagina in my life, home, car, job, check coming in, all of that. Like good friend circle, the whole nine, like just wonderful life, right? And then one day, next, right after that, you know what I went to? Looking around and I'm in a jail cell. One more again for the win. One day, I woke up. I had a lot of money. I had vagina in my life. I had a good circle of friends. You name it. I was working. Life is good. Performing at nights at different little local spots. I mean, just loving things. And one day I woke up in prison and I was looking around at them walls. Why am I saying that? I'm saying that to say, even those of us who have been taken from the best of conditions and put in the worst, us as humans, is something about us that's able to adapt, mold and adjust. This is during a time of bartering. All right. So when you barter, primarily, I mean, all you doing is trading off. And even to today, the barter system still exists. Right now, today, just may not be exactly where you are, but it still exists. It still exists even in local communities amongst those of us who trust each other. It's called the barter system. Hey, I'll loan you this, I give you that back. Gotcha. No problem, neighbor. my bro, whatever it may be, sister, whatever. Let's keep going and see what we got.
Watch out for snakes, they bite. Day in and day out, you swing your sickles and your hoes, dreaming about the hoes you left behind, taking extra caution not to get too distracted. Oh, looks like you cut off Bahir's arm. Bahir will remember.
And from what I hear, you actually can cut the yard faster with a sickle than you can an actual lawnmower. But anyway, we'll put that to the test another day. Let's rock out.
Remember that. It's then you look down and notice some squishing between your toesies. The ground's getting rather moist. Ah, the Nile's flooding, you say to no one. After you finish fighting off the invading river rats using your +7 strength copper sword, it's time to pause the farming grind and try your hand at construction while the Nile does its thing. Oh look, the pharaoh wants you to help build a new pyramid. Lucky you. Since you have countless hours placing virtual cobblestone under your belt, this sounds like a pretty sweet gig. Just keep an eye out, because sometimes it's not yourself that you need to watch out for. Daily labor